campus as a catalyst for the transformation of urban villages. The case of urban villages of Jia Sarai and Kalu Sarai, New Delhi. The paper talks about how the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, has acted as a catalyst for the transformation of the urban villages of Kalu Sarai and Jia Sarai. The paper focuses on the transformation of the built typologies, change in user groups, various stakeholders involved, the quality of life, change in social structure, and above all, the native residents and the change of occupation influenced by the transformation of the urban village. Talking about Delhi and its urban villages, the capital of Delhi grew south of Shahjahanabad. Initially, both Abadi and the Khasra land was acquired to develop the capital of our country. 1957 onwards, the Delhi Development Authority or DDA took charge of the development of Delhi. In contrast to the previous system, now only the village farmlands were acquired, leaving the residential pockets untouched, and these village pockets have come to be known as urban villages today. The Indian Institute of Technologies are central government-owned public technical institutes located all across India. The Delhi Development Authority in 1962 Master Plan of Delhi had earmarked several professional colleges and an engineering college just south of Hoskas. IIT Delhi was established in 1961 on this very parcel of land. The longer edge of the campus is abutting the outer ring road of Delhi, a major arterial road of the city. The neighboring residential areas near IIT Delhi include Jia Sarai, Katwaria Sarai, Kalu Sarai, and SDM Market. IIT Delhi was established in southern Delhi around the villages of Jia Sarai and Katwaria Sarai, which were themselves south of Haus Khas, a more prominent village which at the time was considered to be located at the fringe of the city of Delhi. Lal Dora, a rule for urban villages. The Lal Dora Act was introduced in 1908, and the land falling within the Lal Dora was not assessed for land revenue. That land falling outside the village Abadi or the Lal Dora was meant for the purpose collected for agriculture and was subject to land revenue. Today in Delhi, development inside the Lal Dora land is free from any developmental norms. Jia Sarai and Kalu Sarai. The urban villages of Jia Sarai and Kalu Sarai came into existence during the Mughal era. Sarais were resting places for travelers, and once these resting places became villages, once travelers started settling here. Jia Sarai. Farmland from the villages of Jia Sarai was acquired to set up IIT Delhi. About 20 odd families resided here at that time, who primarily cultivated land and reared cattle. Although not within the campus boundaries itself, Jia Sarai is an urban village enclosed by the campus, with only a single road leading to the urban village from the main ring road. Due to its vicinity to the campus, it has started catering to the immediate needs of the campus residents. Jia Sarai hosts a number of eateries, accommodations, and some coaching centers. Kalu Sarai. IIT Delhi, being one of India's topmost institutions, has always attracted a lot of young aspirants years before they have started college. Kalu Sarai, an urban village in the vicinity of IIT Delhi, has been hosting a number of such coaching centers and PG accommodations. Proximity to IIT Delhi has been a major reason why Kalu Sarai has become a hub for numerous such institutions to cater to the coaching needs of students giving engineering entrance examinations. Over the last few decades, prices of real estate have multiplied at a rapid pace in Kalu Sarai and has become the engineering entrance coaching hub of Delhi. Transformation of the urban villages. Being urban villages and having their origins dating back to centuries ago, Kalu Sarai and Jia Sarai have undergone drastic renewal since IIT Delhi was established. From residential settlements, which these urban villages could have initially hosted, to now hosting coaching centers, PG accommodations, and supporting programs, Kalu Sarai and Jia Sarai have adapted to the change which was introduced much beyond their inception. But this has been at a cost of an increase in urban density of the neighborhood due to a non-adherence of bylaws, being an urban village as they come under the Lal Dora land. With the loss of agricultural land, many villages found small-time administrative jobs at IIT and elsewhere in the city. Some of the newly rich villagers purchased new houses, luxury cars, and even sent their children to private schools. Some villagers also sold land to the outsiders and in turn purchased farmhouses in nearby areas. From the 1970s, as the city expanded, the migrants started trickling in. The villagers saw an opportunity in renting out their houses, and with time, as savings added up, One house became two houses became four. The transformation of the urban villages has taken place in a multifaceted manner in the following ways. There's been the physical transformation, which is the increased number of floors in the area. There's a change in built use as now the urban villages have started accommodating mm, uh, multiple uses like PG accommodations, coaching centers, and all. Then there's also transformation of the urban village due to the growth and aspiration of the local people as the families increased. The requirement for housing also increased. And there's also the migration of rural population, which also led to the transformation of these villages. The built typologies are a very evident proof of the transformation of the built fabric. People used to build single-story structures because it was sufficient for housing their own family as well as a small shop or an enterprise. Few structures reached the first level, but the population growth and changes in land use allowed for the construction of more dwelling units. The change in user groups is also associated with the building type. Both the urban villages have seen the change in typologies from urban village typology to a rental-based skyscraper for the migrant working class at campus and for the students too. As a result, people expand their homes to accommodate more people while also earning money. Due to the fact that urban communities do not follow administrative bylaws, 4 to 5 story structures can now be observed. However, this type of rural area, the type is not the rural type, but a 5 floor high building being in a Laldora area. The various stakeholders involved in the transformation have added to the value it holds. The quality of life and change in social structure, and above all, native residents have mostly moved out of the urban village in search for better opportunities for farming or other odd jobs suitable to them, and their change of occupation influenced by the transformation of the urban village. The land in these urban villages was solely used for residential purposes. These were rural settlements, but they would also keep their cattle, store grains, and engage in small scale household industries. Before these villages became urban villages, this was the scenario. Urban villages no longer have any distinct land use as a result of urbanization. People's living standards are raised as cities become more urbanized and modernized. As a result, citizens' spatial requirements increase, necessitating greater room. Aside from that, when families grow, more space is required to accommodate the additional members. The most significant effect of urbanization is mass migration of illiterate and unskilled individuals. As a result, there is a demand for affordable housing, and urban villages are able to meet this demand better than other metropolitan areas. The study concluded with interesting university village links and the character of the campus edge along the urban village, which have proved to be significant areas of studies where the edge conditions show a significant symbiotic relationship between both the campus and the urban village in various ways. GS Sarai and Kalu Sarai being urban villages under Lora land, due to freedom from conforming to any bylaws, have renewed drastically from its original built use, as the institute started playing the role of a major market force in the region. From being a single-story residences of these villages, they now have become 4 to 5 story buildings hosting a wide variety of functions, from PG accommodations to coaching institutes and even dhabas. To conclude, university campuses bring about growth and change not only physically and structurally, but they also bring about a lifestyle change of the original local people and the landowners. The urban villages of Jia Sarai and Kalu Sarai, being Lal Dora areas, are an interesting example of how these areas have transformed themselves since IIT Delhi was established. As these areas never had to conform to any local development norms, the urban transformation has had its challenges. The way the urban villages around these campuses have been able to transform themselves functionally as well as structurally is a really interesting phenomenon. As the planning for the institute is only confined to its campus boundary, hence policy measures are needed to give direction and drive growth of the campus hinterland at large. Guided growth of the urban village is needed so that the edge conditions between the campus and its surroundings are seamless and hence lead to a more integrated precinct. This comes as a challenge as urban villages come under Laldora land and these villages transform free from any restrictions prescribed by any planning norms. Hence, design considerations can only be given in the form of suggestions so as to guide the growth of villages which are yet to urbanize under pressure. Some design considerations in the form of suggestions can be as follows. Town planning or master planning agencies can introduce development controls for urbanizing villages where the major transformation only takes place around the edge of the urban village, leaving the core of the urban village intact so that the fabric and typologies are not disturbed. Restrictions with respect to built use can be proposed so that there is mixed use in the form of commercial or retail on the lower floors and upper floors may be used for rental accommodation. Height restrictions can be proposed to limit construction to only 4 floors so that the density of the urban village does not exceed excessively. After the sale of agricultural land, new development comes up in place and villages are deprived of open space which they previously enjoyed in the form of the farmland. Certain considerations can also be introduced so that there is proper integration between urban villages and the open space network of the precinct. Public spaces in the form of chalks or nodes, which are seen traditionally, which can be restored for the essence of the urban village. Thank you.